We're going to go to Bill in West Hartford, Connecticut, Sean, and I will tell you that he's an astronomer and he's an atheist. There you go, Bill. I took the thunder away from you.
Yes, you did, George. Yes. Hi, Sean. Hi. Yes, I am a rational atheist, and I am an amateur astronomer. And I have a very highly interesting speculative question for you that involves the theory that Coast to Coast did a show on back in February on the potential of our universe being a computer simulation. And Elon Musk, according to him, I know he's not a scientist, but he thinks there's 10 billion to 1 chance in favor of our universe being a computer simulation. So let me ask you, and then I'll form a question. Do you think it's possible that if the computer simulated universe is correct, that regarding two things that Coast to Coast talks about a lot, aliens, UFOs, and the other NDEs, near-death experiences, these things could be explained, not in a religious sense, not heaven or hell, not the soul, but the mind, the consciousness. What I'm saying is, could it be that in our universe, the only real thing in this universe, which it may be a simulation, is our minds, our consciousness? And could our consciousness, A, exist when we die in what I would call the real reality, which is another universe or another dimension where maybe aliens who created our universe with an immense computer, and in human terms, you could say in human time scales, they're a billion years ahead of us scientifically, let's say, and they created our universe, and that where they exist in another universe or another dimension, an energy dimension, an energy universe, if that's compatible with science, that would be the real reality. And then regarding near-death experiences, people who say they have them, the main thing they all say, amongst other crazy things that are religious and spiritual, angels and devils and demons that make no sense, is that the NDE experience seems realer than real, more real than life itself. So what I'm saying simply is, could it be that the aliens, if they exist outside the universe and have simulated our universe, we're in a simulation now, that the real reality is outside the universe? Does any of what I said have any scientific merit?
Well, you're asking two different kinds of questions. One is it possible, is it conceivable that some of these ideas are correct? And when you ask a question like that, it's almost always the case that the answer is yes, it's possible. It is absolutely conceivable. You know, one of the things I talk about in the book is that we should be open-minded, but we can imagine scenarios that, while they're possible, are so unlikely that it doesn't really make a lot of sense to worry about them too much. So that's where we get into not just possibility, but, you know, how likely is it? So that's a much better question to ask is this kind of scenario sufficient? Does it have enough evidence or explanatory power that we should really give it a relatively high probability? And in that case, I would say no. I mean, I think that the idea that we live in a simulation is plausible. I don't think it's likely myself. I disagree with Elon a little bit about that. But it's possible, absolutely. If we had more evidence in favor of it, then I would certainly change my mind. But I think there's much easier explanations for the phenomena that you're talking about. Whenever we judge an explanation in science, it's not just is it sufficient to explain the data, but it's also how much are you assuming? How much work are you doing to try to explain this data? If there's a simpler explanation for the data, then you should go for that one.
Is there anything, Sean, that would convince you that there was some intelligent design behind what's going on here in the universe? Or is that a no?
There's lots of things that would convince me. I mean, there's many, many ways the universe could have been different that I would have very readily said, oh, yes, the best explanation for this universe is one where there was a designer that had certain goals and so forth. You know, if every holy book in the history of the world said the same thing, even though they were written at different times by different people who didn't communicate with each other, that would be a very, very good piece of evidence in favor of some guidance from out there. Of course, if there's no guidance out there, then you would expect different holy books written at different places and different times to say wildly different things, and that's what you actually see.
Let's go to Yucaipa.